Hi everyone, my name is Shrikant. Today we are going to learn how to create custom rollup summaries using flows. I have already made two videos on flows. I have added those links in the description. Please go through those videos in case you wanted to understand basics of flows, how to create flows, what are the types of flows, how to navigate, etc. etc. By end of this video, you will be able to understand how to create rollup summaries using flows, and you will also find alternative ways to create custom rollup summaries. First things first, what is rollup summary? Rollup summaries summarizes a value from child records and display that value in parent record. Let's see that with an example. So if you see here, we have two different objects. One is student object, second one is subject object. Student is a parent and subject is a child. So for one student record, we can have multiple subject records. Subject 1, subject 2, subject 3 and subject 4. Now if we want to calculate total number of subjects on student records, let's say if you open student record and if you want to see total number of subjects, we can create a field called total subjects and which will summarize total number of subjects here. In the same way, if you want to calculate sum of all marks, in here we have subject 1 general physics 90, for chemistry he or she got 90 and thermonuclear astrophysics got 40 marks, and for the fourth subject calculus he or she got 90 marks. So if you want to calculate all sum of records and display that in the student record, we can use rollup summary field, which will calculate 90 plus 90 plus 40 plus 90, which is 310. In the same way, if you want to calculate the maximum number of marks that this person got on all his subjects, then you can create a rollup summary field which will find the maximum of all marks. In the same way, minimum marks, which is 40 out of all subjects. In summary, rollup summary fields will calculate count of all child records or sum of a given numeric field. In this case, marks. It's a numeric field, right? In the same way, maximum of a numeric field and minimum of any numeric field. It can be marks or it can be amount, it can be age, etc. etc. In summary, we can calculate count of child records, sum of a particular numeric field on the child records, and minimum of a particular field on a child records, and maximum of a particular numeric field on a child records. And we can also put a filter while creating the summary records. Example, get or count only the child records which are having amount greater than $1,000. In this example, if you want to calculate the total subjects which are having the marks greater than 50, you can put a condition like that. Then what happens is total subjects will be 3. Why? Because this particular subject, subject 3 will be excluded there because the marks is less than 50. So in this case, it will display total subjects is equal to 3. In the same way, you can put conditions on sum of all marks saying that count sum of all marks where marks greater than 50 and so on. However, rollup summary fields can be created on object which are having master detail relationship with its child object, and it cannot be created on lookup relationship object. Let's say object A and object B are related with lookup. We cannot create rollup summary fields on object A. And it also can be created on standard objects like account for opportunities, and on opportunity we can create it for opportunity products, which means on account you can create a roll-up summary fields to calculate the count or sum or max or minimum of any of those fields on opportunity. Same way with opportunity products. In here account is the parent and opportunity is the child. Same way here opportunity is the parent, opportunity products is the child. Hey, hi QBoy. For people who doesn't know him, his name is QBoy. He always interrupts in the video and come up with some kind of questions. Hey, hi everyone. I have a problem here. I want to display value on account record which shows total number of contacts that are having phone numbers. So this is very much similar to a roll-up summary field that he's asking for. However, Salesforce doesn't allow us to create roll-up summary fields on account and contact objects. It allows only on master detail relationship object. Like we have discussed, rollup summaries can be created on object where object A and object B are connected with master detail relationship. Aren't account and contact not a master detail relationship? Simple answer is no, a big no. This is basically an interview question. Account and contact are not master detail relationship. So if someone asks whether we can create a roll-up summary field on account to find total number of contacts or sum of so and so field on contacts, no, it cannot be done because account and contact are not master detail, not a lookup also. It's a special relationship, which means let's say if account gets deleted, contacts get deleted which are associated with that account, which is a master detail property, right? So as per the master detail relationship, if an object A records are deleted, its associated object B records will get deleted, which is a master detail property. And any contact can be created without being associated with any account, which is a lookup relationship property. So if it is a master detail, you cannot create a child record without it being associated with a parent record. But in here, contact can be created without being associated with an account, right? Which is a lookup property. So in here, if you see, account and contact are sharing both master detail property and lookup relationship property. So I cannot call it as a master detail or lookup. It's basically a special relationship property. And the final conclusion here is Salesforce is not allowing us to create roll-up summary fields on account object for contacts. That should be our takeaway point here. If that is the case, how I am gonna achieve roll-up summary field on account object for contact records? Don't worry, my child. Salesforce always gives options to resolve if it's not possible with standard feature. In this case, there is no roll-up summary field that can be created on account object for contact records. So here are two ways to solve this requirement. One is record trigger flow, which is a recommended option. We also have Apex triggers, which will cost you coding and maintenance. Now we'll go ahead and see how to create custom rollup summary fields by using record triggered flows. Let's begin. Let's understand the implementation here. So we have account object, right? We'll create a custom field called number of contacts to find the total number of contacts. By the time account is created or account X is created, there will not be any contacts. So we really don't need to update the value on number of contacts field. However, whenever a contact is created, in this case contact 1 is created, we need to update this value to total number of contacts is equal to 1 on this particular account record. In the same way, whenever contact 2 is created, the value has to be updated again, saying that number of contacts has to be 2 now on account record. In the same case, whenever contact 3 is created, the number of contacts has to be updated with the value 3. If you see, whenever contact is getting created, whenever there is a DML operation, whenever there is an insertion is happening on contact record, then we are updating the value. So Cuboid, tell me what is the conclusion here? I will answer this. Whenever contact getting inserted, we need to increment the value on account object number of contacts field. That's right. Hence, we need to write our logic in contact record trigger flow on insert operation. Exactly. So whenever contact is getting created, we are updating the number of contacts field here. So that is the reason we need to write our logic on contact record trigger flow and for insert operation. So the conclusion one is, whenever contact is inserted, we need to increment or update our number of contacts field value on account record, which means we need to write our record trigger flow on contact object on after insert event, because whenever contact is inserted, once the insertion is done, we'll update the value of total number of contacts on account record. Okay, theory part is done. Let's do the practicals. So this is a brand new people who wants to do the practicals along with me. Let's begin. So first thing is we need to go ahead and create a number of contacts fields on account first. So we'll go to accounts, object manager, account, and then go to fields and create a new field. It should be a number field. Okay, so we'll click here and then scroll down and it should be a number field. Click on next and number of contacts. Okay, number of contacts, and then click on next. Leave the default values as is and then click on save. I wanted to display that field in all the page layouts and click on save. So now we have our field. However, we need to populate it. So whenever a contact is inserted, that has to be populated with the contacts count, the proper contacts count. Click on setup again and then search for flows, because we are going to do this custom rollup summary using flows, and click on new flow. So I have already made 2 videos on flows, so you can check it out. I will add those links in the description. So now we have 5 types of flows. In our scenario, whenever a contact is inserted, we need to update the count on account, correct? So for that reason, we need to select this. So launches whenever a record is created, updated or deleted. So this is our right flow type. Okay, and then click on create. Now it will ask the object. So on which object you wanted to write your flow. As we have concluded, so we need to write our trigger or trigger flow on contact object, because whenever a contact is inserted, which is we need to select a record is created. So whenever a contact record is inserted, we need to perform an action. However, it will ask whether it has to be before or after. So now we need to select the type, whether it is before trigger or after trigger. So even though it says fast field updates, it will call, if you want to do some action before the record is saved, as mentioned here, before the record is saved, we need to select this. If you want to do some action after the record is saved or inserted or updated, then you need to select this one. All these things I clearly mentioned in my previous video. You can check it out. So whenever a contact is inserted, we are doing some action. After the record inserted, we are doing some action. So what action is it? So far what we have done is whenever a contact is created, our flow will get called and we need to do some action. That action we need to define here. So first thing is we will try to get all the other contacts related to this contacts account ID. Let's see how we do it. So click on plus and get records. So we will find get all contacts related to the account. So we have our contact created, right? That contact is being associated with the account. So we are trying to find all the contacts related to that account. Okay. So which object? Obviously we are querying on contact object because we want to find all the other contacts related to that account. And what is the filter criteria? So it's based on account ID. So get all the contacts where account ID matching with the contact which got just inserted. So the currently inserted contact will be stored in record variable. So this is a flow created variable or Salesforce created variable where this will have all the values of the contact that is getting created. So the inserted contacts account ID. So this is basically a query getting all the contacts related to the account ID which is matching with our currently inserted contacts account ID. Okay. Now it will ask how many records to store. As this is a query, we want all the records which are matching with this criteria. So all the records. Now if you see, this is how to store record data. So you are doing a query but you didn't mention what are the fields and all, right? So basically if we select this, automatically store all the fields. Of course we really don't want to have all the fields, but leave this value as default and then click on done. So basically what this step is doing is, let me open a paint. So let's say we have account 1. Okay. So whenever contact 1 is inserted and associated with account ID, this particular query is fetching all the other contacts associated with this account ID. So currently there is no other contact, right? So that's the reason it will only fetch this contact ID. Let's say we are inserting another contact under the same account. Now this query will again fetch all the records associated with this account ID. As this account ID is associated with 2 contacts ID, then the list will return 2 contacts. Let's say we have third contact inserted and being associated with this account 1. Now this query will return all the contacts which are associated with this contacts account ID, which is all these 3 contacts. So by using this, we are getting the list of all contacts, right? So once we get the list, it is really easy to find the size, correct? Now the next step is we'll put this size in another variable. So that's very easy. So that we'll create variable first. So click on new and variable number or like contact size. Okay, currently this size will be empty, so it's a number field. And then click on, we really don't want decimals because contact size will never be decimals, right? So click on done. Now we have our variable. We need to populate this variable with the size of the list that we get it here. So whenever you want to assign the size of a list to a particular variable, there is an simple hack. Okay, so this is, it's not really a hack. Not many people would know, I guess. Okay, so assign list size to contact size variable. Okay, so how we do it? So we have the variable, no? So we'll select the variable. Contact size is a variable. Okay, so if you want to assign any size of a list, in the operator we have the fourth option equals count, which is like it will grabs the size of the list you selected. So you see record collection variable. So get contacts from get all related get all contacts related to that account. So this is the query that we have done now. So this is basically returns a list. So this list equals count in a sense the count of that list size will be associated, will be assigned to this contact size. Now this contact size will hold the list size. So now click on done. So we got our size, right? So as soon as we got the size, now we need to find our account and then update the account's number of contacts value with this size. So how we do it? It's again easy step. So click on plus. So we'll update. So we'll use update records element here. Click here and update related account number of contacts field. So first we need to find the account, right? How to find the records to update and set their values. So to find the records, we need to identify records. We'll select the third option and we'll ask which record you wanted to, which objects record you wanted to update. So I will say account because accounts number of field, right? So which account? So the record is getting inserted, right? So that contacts account ID. So we'll match this ID with the inserting contacts account ID. So by this, it will find, so whenever a contact is inserted, it will find the account ID and then it will grab that account ID and then put it in our steps. So it will grab our account ID after this. So filter the account records. Now we got our account record by using this particular filter. As soon as you get it, now what we need to do, we need to update that number of contacts field. So set field values on the account record. So whatever record that got filtered by using this filter, we need to update that number of contacts field on that account with our contact size, which it got assigned in the previous step. So contact size. So in this step, basically we are finding the account by using this filter. So account ID equal to inserted contacts account ID. So it got the account record, and once we got the record, we are setting the field, set field values of the record account records. So on this account record which got fetched, number of contacts is equal to contact size. This contact size is something which we assigned in the previous step, correct? So click on done. So summarizing this, we got all the related contacts. So whenever a new contact is inserting, then all the contacts will be queried and then it will be there in this list. Okay, once we got the list, we are assigning that list value to our variables. We are assigning that list size to our variable. So we have our size of that contact size in our contact size variable. Once we got our contact size, we are getting our account by using the filter and then updating that particular account with the account field value, number of contacts field value with our contact size, and done. So as this is an update operation, it will update the account. Now is it done? Yes, of course it is done. So let's click on save. Let's give a meaningful name, contact after insert, and we'll have a description here. Update account number of contact size whenever contact is inserted, and then click on save. So saving is not really enough, we need to activate it. So now that you have created your flow where it will find the contacts and get the size and then put it in the accounts field, we'll see whether it is working as expected or not. Okay, now we'll go to app launcher and then search for accounts. Now I will create a new account first. Test demo account. Okay, and then so this should be a read-only field where you can do it for business users. Go to the page layouts and make it read-only and then it should work. Now let's create contacts. So we have contacts where you will get, just click on new and then create first contact. Contact 1 and then click on save. Now this should increment the value in details page. See, number of contacts is 1 now. Again go to here and then click on this one and then contact 2 and then click on save. Again go there and check the size. You see, size got incremented. Again go here and then click on new and then contact 3. Save. See, the size is getting incremented. If you go back to related list, see here also you can actually check the size of it. But for this is just for demo purpose. So that's the reason we are doing it. You can also add conditions saying that number of contacts which are having phone numbers. Then you can put your conditions in your flow wherever in the flow. Add this logic only for the contacts where you can set the entry condition saying that phone number is not null, something like that. You can add the condition. So then this list will be showing only the size of contacts, number of contacts which are having phone numbers or which are having email IDs as such. Okay, that's it. Now scenario number 2. So for whenever a contact is inserted, we have written our logic to update the number of contacts. In the same way, whenever we delete a contact, the count has to be reduced to 2, right? So let's say account X is having 3 contacts. So earlier the value would have been 3. So whenever contact 3 is deleted, the count has to be reduced to 2, isn't it? Because as this is deleted, the total number of contacts is 2. Very simple. So QBoy, tell me what is the conclusion here? I will answer this. Whenever contact is getting deleted, we need to decrement the value on account record, which is on number of contacts field. Hence, we need to write our logic in contact record flow on delete operation. That's right, because whenever contact is deleted, so on contact, if we need to write our logic on delete operation to update the number of contacts field on account record. So the conclusion number 2 is on contact deletion, find the count and update the number of contacts field value on account record. So we need to write our object on contact, which why? Because whenever a contact is deleted, we need to do an operation. That's the reason on contact object, and the operation or the event has to be before delete. In fact, we need to write after delete, but the thing is flows do not have after delete yet. It might come in future releases, but at this point of time, as we are having before delete event, we are using this before delete event to find the count of contacts and then update that value accordingly in the account record. Okay, let's come back to Salesforce again. So we have 3 contacts, and that's the reason it is displaying 3 as per the previous implementation. So whenever a deletion happens, whenever a contact gets deleted like this, the count has to be decremented or count has to be updated accordingly in account. However, it is not getting updated, right? See, because we haven't done any implementation for that. So that is something which we are going to do. It's very much same like the previous implementation. Okay, let's see how we'll do it. So we have the flows table. So click on new and it will open a flow builder. Now we need to select the type of flow. So whenever a record is created, updated or deleted, if we want to perform some action, we need to select this record trigger flow as it is mentioned here. So in our scenario, whenever a record is deleted, we need to update that count in account, correct? So click on create. Obviously it will ask the object name. So it is on contact. So on contact object, whenever a record is deleted, so we have this option select. So whenever a contact is getting deleted, we wanted to do some action. So it is before or after. So whenever a contact is deleted, what action we want to do? When we need to do that action, whether the before the record is deleted or after the record is deleted. However, Salesforce flows do not have after delete event yet. So that is the reason we need to do this operation in before delete flow. However, there is an catch here. So that is something which we're going to discuss in coming minutes. We do not need to set any conditions because whenever any record deletes, we want to decrement the count. Okay. Now we have this before delete event. Remember, this is a before delete event. Remember again, we are doing a before delete event. This is really important to understand. Okay, click on done. So whenever contact gets deleted, just before the deletion, we want to do some action. What action? We'll find the related contacts again and then find the size and update that size in the account like we have done in the previous scenario. Okay, but there is a very little bit difference. Let's see that. Okay, first thing is get all the related contacts associated with that account. So get contacts, get all contacts related to the account. And which object? Obviously we are querying on contact object. Get records is nothing but a SOQL query which is like querying the records. So on contact object, what are we are trying to query? It's the same query that we have done in the previous flow. So it is on account ID field, which is matching with the record which is about to get deleted. As this is before delete event, the record is not deleted yet. So the record which is about to get deleted will be there in this record variable, which is a flow or a Salesforce variable, and then we are trying to get with account ID. So basically this query is get all the contacts where its account ID is matching with the contact's account ID, which is about to get deleted now. And scroll down and how many records to store? It's all records and automatically store all fields, and then click on done. Now as we have the list, so now we'll create a variable which is contact size. Okay, contact size, and it should be a number field. Currently this value will be holding nothing. Decimal values should be 0, and then click on 10. Now we need to assign the size to this particular variable. Okay, so click on plus and assignment, assign list size to contact size variable. This is also the similar step like in the previous flow. So contact size, and if you want to assign any list size to any variable, you have an operator called equals count, and then you need to give the list. So this list size will be assigned to this particular variable, and then click on done. Now we need to update the account ID with that contact size. Now there is a catch here. Okay. Now let's go back to this account. Let me explain here. Let's say we have account 1, and which is as being associated with contact 1, contact 2, and contact 3. As we have 3 contacts, because of our insertion logic or after insert flow, the value will be 3 now. Okay. Now we have performed an action by deleting this contact 3. As soon as you delete our contact 3, our flow will be called. Okay. Our before delete flow will be called. So whenever contact is deleted, just before the record is deleted, it will get all the accounts related to that account. Okay. And what happens is, we have C3 that is getting deleted, so it will try to find all the contacts associated with the account ID. Then it will display, or now that query will return all the 3 contacts. Okay, now it will return all the 3 contacts. Now what happens is, as it is returning all the 3 contacts here, when you assign that list size to the contact size will now hold value 3, right? Value 3 will be holded. So now if we assign this value 3 to accounts records again, it will be of no use, right? So after the record is deleted, the value will be still 3, which is not right. So for that reason, we need to reduce the gotten value minus 1, because as this is before delete event, it will count this record also into picture. If we had after delete event, then what happens is, after we deleted, this record will not be counted, and that query would have returned 2, and we would have directly kept that value here. But in this scenario, as we do not have the after delete event, we have the before delete event, we need to have one more step where we need to reduce the contact size by 1. As soon as you reduce the value size by 1, the value will be 2, and then that value you need to update in the accounts record. So now we'll go back to our flow where we will update the record. Okay. Before that, we'll write a formula where we will reduce the contact size minus 1. Okay. So to do that, click on new resource, click on formula, updated contacts size. Okay. And then this should be a number again, and it should be decimal is obviously 0. And this updated contact size should be current contact size minus 1. So current contact size is minus 1. So as per this scenario, if contact 3 is deleted, still the count will be shown as 3 here. And then if you go down, it is assigning that 3 value to contact size, and our formula field will reduce that contact size minus 1, which will be 2 now. And then we will need to assign that particular value to our accounts record. So it's the same step again. We will have update record event, which will update the account. So update accounts number of contacts field. Okay. We need to select this. So to find the account, so account, and we need to find the account based on the ID, which is matching with the account ID of the contact that is getting deleted. It's the same step which we have done. And then once we got the account ID, we need to update that account's number of contacts with the updated contact size, which is a formula field. If it is getting 3, now the value will get 2. If it is 2, now it will be 1. Click on done. This flow is very much same like the previous step. However, as we are doing before delete event, we are doing a reduction of the contact size value by 1, and we are putting in the formula and then assigning that formula value to number of contacts field. Click on save. Give some meaningful name again. So contact, before, delete, and update accounts number of contacts field when contact is deleted. Save, and then activate it. Now let's test this out. Now if we come back to this account, now we have 2 contacts. So let's say if we delete the value, the count should be 1 now. So delete, and then delete the contact, and then refresh the page. and go to the details. Now it should show 1. See? Now if we delete the existing contact also, the only one and only contact here, now the value should be 0. So click on delete. Again, refresh the page and then delete. So details, sorry, details, and the number of contacts is 0. Let's add another contact again. Contact 1 again, then save. Count should be incremented. Now if I do that again, another contact, count should be incremented. See, all this has been done by using just 3 steps. See, very easy with flows. No coding, no maintenance, no test classes, very easy. Now comes scenario number 3. So far we have seen whenever a contact is deleted or inserted, we have updated the count accordingly, right? Now, in this scenario, for account X, if we reparent contact 2 from account X to account Y, which means we have the ability or we have the option to reparent, right? In Salesforce. So when this reparenting of contact 2 has been done from account X to account Y, the counts of each account record has to be updated accordingly. Earlier the value is 2 here on account X, right? Because contact 2 is associated with this account X, and contact 1 and contact 2 both are associated with X. That's the reason it is having 2. Account Y doesn't have any contacts. However, after reparenting, the counts has to be updated accordingly, saying that account X is having only 1 contact, so the number of contacts is 1. And account Y is having 1 contact and the number of contacts is 1. So conclusion number 3, on every contact reparenting, update number of contacts count on account record 1 and also update count records on account record 2. It has to happen on both. So you need to update number of contacts on account X and account Y, which is account 1 and account 2. So this has to happen on contact object, record triggered flow for after update event. Okay, let's come back to Salesforce now. So we have our test demo account, which is currently holding 2 contacts. So which is contact 1 and contact 2. So to make things easy, I will name this as test demo account 1. Okay. To test this scenario, we also need one more account. So I will quickly create another account, test demo account 2. Okay, and then click on save. I will create one more contact here, or maybe 2 more contacts here. So what happens is contact 3, save, and I will add one more contact, contact 4, and save. Now if we see, if we go to the details of test demo account 2, both this account is currently holding 2 contacts and same is happening here. So here 2 contacts. Now we'll try to reparent contact 2 from account 1 to account 2. Then what should happen? The number of contacts here should become 1, and if we go back to account 2, it has to be 3 because already it is having contact 3 and contact 4. Now contact 2 got reparented from account 1 to this account, so it would be 3 here. So to do that, we need to create a flow. As it is a reparenting logic, or like whenever a contact is getting reparented, basically it is updating its account ID, correct? So to how to reparent it. So I'll go back here. So we'll go to related list, contact 2. To reparent an account, you just need to update your account from test account 2, test account 1 to test account 2. So this is how you reparent. Basically, you're doing an update. So for that, you need to go to flows and then click on new flow, which will open a flow builder. As we are doing it on after update on contact, we definitely need to select record triggered flow. Click on create, and then you need to select contact because this is after update of contact. So now we'll select record. A record is updated. So basically it's update. We can also select a record is created or updated, but as per our scenarios, created and updated are not very much sharing the same logic. They're not really sharing the same logic. So that's the reason we have 3 different flows for 3 different scenarios, for create, for update, and delete. We can add a condition saying that we wanted to have this particular logic to be ran only when if the account ID is changed, correct? So to do that, you can just put a condition saying that account ID is changed true. So whenever account ID is changed, definitely we need to run our logic. Okay. So is it before or after? Obviously it should be after, because whenever contact is updating or reparenting its account, then we are updating previous account record and current account records number of contacts value. That's the reason we need to select this one, which is after update, and then click on done. So basically whenever contact is getting updated and account ID is changed, then we need to get all the contacts related to both account 1 and account 2. First we'll write getting of all contacts related to both the accounts. Both the accounts? Yes, both the accounts. Let me show you. So get records, get all contacts related to old and new account. So old in the sense, in this scenario it would be test account demo 1, and if it is new, test account demo 2. Okay, so we need to get contacts, all contacts, so all contacts. And what is the filter here? So we need to get all the contacts related to first account and second account. How will get first account and second ID values? So I will show you how. So we need to have the account ID filter equals to, whenever a contacts get updated or reparenting its value from account 1 to account 2, that contact will be stored in record variable, like you already know. So this record variable, if you see, will be holding the new values. Once you update it, whatever values you have provided, those will be stored in this record variable, all the fields. The previous value which they got overridden or changed will be stored in here, which means if you have reparented an account from account 1 to account 2, account 1 value will be there in record prior account ID. The new account value, which is the test record 2 account ID, will be there in this record variable dot account ID value. So we need to fetch both the account IDs related contacts, right? So record and account ID. So this will fetch the new account contacts. We also need to fetch old account contacts. So account equals record prior, which will be having the previous account ID. In this case, test demo account 1. So account ID. So we need to put our condition, only then it will fetch both the accounts, and scroll down, we need to get all records and automatically store here. So if you did not understand this step here, let me show you that in Paint. So we have account 1 which is associated with contact 1 and contact 2, correct? Now we have account 2 which is holding C3 and C4 as its contacts, correct? Now what happens is the value of number of contacts is 2 here, and it is 2 here also. Now as per the scenario, if you reparent, sorry, understand this as cross, okay? Reparent C2 from A1 to A2, record prior account ID will have account of A1 value, record dot account ID will have A2 value, okay? So what happens is, now we are trying to get, if we go back here, we are trying to get all the contact related to old and new accounts, which means that query will return list which will have C1, C2, and it will also have C3, C4. So it will have all the contacts in this list. So this list is our query. So once the query is written, that query will have this list, because we have written a query or we have written a filter saying that, we go back here, get all the contacts related to account ID, current account ID, which is the A2 or account 2 record, and we also get account 1 record, which is the previous account ID, which is A1 here. As this is after update, by the time it comes to the flow, A1 will be currently having C1. So we'll just take out this thing, and A1 is currently having C1, A2 would be having C2, C3, C4 associated to it. Now we need to create two lists, list 1 and list 2. List 1 should hold, so we need to do a logic where out of this list we need to put list 1 with all the contacts related to previous account. Previous account, we have the previous account which is A1 now, so it should hold, or list 1 should hold all the contacts related to previous account. List 2 should hold all the contacts all the contacts related to current account, which will be C2, C3, C4. So we already have the list, right? It is easy to segregate because we already have. So we have the list. We need to create these two lists now. How? So we'll go back here, and then what we would do is we'll create. We have something called collection filter. So this will have the complete list, which is C1, C2, C3, C4, which are related to account 1 and account 2. Now based on the account ID, we will differentiate and then put it into two different lists. We go back here, collection filter, and then we can write something called filter complete contact list to fetch previous accounts contacts. So previous account in the sense here, account demo record 1. Okay, how you will fetch it? So we already have the list now, this contact list which we got it, that complete list C1, C2, C3, C4, all the lists will be there in it, out of which we need to fetch based on account ID which is matching with, so the previous account ID. How you will get it? So record prior would be having the previous account ID, no? As simple as that. So once you do this filter on the previous list, what happens is in this list, whatever contact that is matching with the previous account ID, in this case only C1 is matching with this previous account ID, we are putting into one list. So putting of this list will be done internally by Salesforce. As soon as you do this custom filter, whichever matching with this filter, it will create a list internally. Okay, now we'll create another filter which is a second list. We need to filter this again and filter complete contacts list to fetch current accounts contacts. So it's the same kind of thing, except we will be having the complete list mentioned here, and then account ID should be matching with, instead of record prior, it should be current records or new values account ID. So record ID, records current record ID, which means which will have the new account ID value. In this case, account record 2, and then done. Now we'll have three lists. If you see, record collection variable is currently having three lists. Contact filter 1, which will have this list, but first list will be having current accounts contact records, which will be C2, C3, C4. This list is previous accounts contact, which means it will have C1 in its list. This is the complete list, which will be having C1, C2, C3, 4 in its list. So this will be having the complete list. This will be having the previous accounts contacts, which will be only C1. And this filter, or like this filter, will be creating a list which will hold C2, C3, C4, which is the current accounts contacts. So now if you see, these lists are created. L1, L2, basically those two lists are created accordingly here. So we have our list. So now we need to find the size of these two lists. In this case, so we have this size. Now what is this list size? Is 1. This list size is 3. We can, if you can put this to here in account 1, and if you put this to here, which will be 3, that is our output, no, basically. So 1 will be here and 3 will be here. Account 2 will be currently hosting C2, C3, C4, and this list we are putting into account 1. As easy as that. So that is something which we are going to do now. We'll click on plus. We need to create variables. So first we will create variables, simple variables. Variable previous account contact, previous accounts contact size number, and then we don't want decimal, and then done. And again I will create one more variable, new accounts contact size, or new or current and number. This one should be 0, and then done. Now we'll see how we do that. So how we will assign it. So you already know, we have done it in the previous step. Assign previous and current contacts size to respective variables. So we have variables created now. First variable is previous account size. We have the equal contacts one, and we need to get the filter which we got it in the step. which is current item, not this one. It should be collection variable. You see here, this is previous accounts contacts. So now we're trying to, if you see that hover, it says contacts from filter complete contact list to fetch previous accounts contacts. So this is the collection variable that got created. Okay, so we'll just click here and then done. That variable is basically this one. Okay, we are just assigning this list value size to this variable. That's what we have done here. And in the same assignment itself, we can also add current account size equals count, and then we can put it contact. We can go to the filter contacts. If you see the hover one, not this one, sorry. Yeah, contacts from filter complete contact list to fetch current accounts contact. So it will hold all the current account record, which will be C2, C3, C4 here, and then done. So we got the complete list. We differentiated to previous account contact list, which will have C1 here, and this will be second list, which will have current account contacts C2, C3, C4. Now we assign the size of this list and this list to two variables here. First variable is this one, second variable is this one. We just assign the size. We got the sizes here. No, we just need to update this size value to the respective account ID. That's what we need to do. So we'll scroll down. Here we will create account record instances to update the accounts respectively. So to create variable previous account record variable, okay, and this should be a record type. So this should be account, and then that. Okay, so we have one record field created. We'll have similar one again. Variable current account record variable. Okay, we just created an instance. We will just update the value accordingly. Now account done. So now we have two variables. Okay, what we will do is we will have an assignment previous account assignment. Okay, we already created a variable which is previous account record variable. We need, if we want to tag this previous account record variable to the previous account ID, this is the way that we need to do. So previous account record variable ID equals, we have our record variable, no, record prior variable dot account ID. So this way this variable will be tied to the previous account ID. So once it got tied, this record variable will hold the previous record. Now we just need to update the previous record variable dot number of contacts. We have the variable now which we got the previous account contact size in the previous step. Just add that value, previous accounts contact size. Done. As easy as that. In the same way we can do the second assignment here itself, but I will add another second account variable also here, but I will add it in a separate step. So click on done. So for the previous account assignment is done, we just need to add to a list and then update it. So we'll add the current variable thing also here. So scroll down, current account assignment, same drill, current account assignment. Where is current account record? This one, and ID equals current account record ID. Current account ID will be stored in record.account ID. And we just need to add our size, number of contact size. So we have the variable that got created now, current that size. So basically whatever sizes that we have found here from the lists accordingly, those are stored in these two variables. We are assigning these two variables respectively to their respective accounts. First we have, as soon as we tag that old account ID to this previous record account variable, automatically this variable will hold this account record. And now you are just assigning that contact size to that account record variable. Now if you just update this variable, it will update the account. Simple. As we have two accounts to update, we just need to add these two accounts into a list. So how do you do it? Add, we need to have another assignment, add two accounts to list. So we need to create a list first. Oh my god. So you can click on new resource here, or you can also do it on the fly. So new resource, and then you can create variable account list to update, and then that type should be record. Here it should be account. As it is updating two records, we need to select allow multiple values. So basically this is basically a list of account, and now click on done. So we have our list created. We need to add this list with our two variables, which are previous account variable, and we also need to have account list. Where is account list? Add current account variable. Done. So we have the list which will have two accounts. Two accounts are updated with the respective number of contact values. Now we just need to update that list. Simple. Update records. Update account list. Here we can actually provide the list here. Okay. So by selecting this, it will ask you to provide the list. So we have our list, which is account list update, and then done, and then save. So it should be contact after update. Save. So update is little tricky when it compares to insert and delete. Here we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps here. So basically what we have done is we got all the contact records from account 1 and account 2, and we have differentiated account 1 contacts and account 2 contacts in two lists. As we have two lists, it is easy to find the size of these lists. So list 1 size and list 2 size, we have kept it in two variables using this assignment. Those two variables are current accounts contact size and previous contacts size. So as soon as we got the sizes, we need to update the accounts accordingly. So we have the account IDs now. So by using that account IDs, we have created the variables for accounts, and then associated each of the account ID with that variable, and then associated its size. So by using this, you can actually create an instance of that account. So we have created two instances and added the size accordingly, and finally added those two instances or two variables of accounts into a list here. So this list is basically containing two accounts with the number of contacts updated there. And then finally you're doing an update operation. Easy. So click on activate and let's test this out. So we'll go back here. So account demo 2, which is having two contacts. I will go back here. Test demo account 1. So test demo account is having contact 1 and contact 2. Test demo account 2 is having contact 3 and contact 4. Now I'm going back to test demo account, and then I will reparent this contact 2 from this account to account 2. We'll see how it is working. So click on contact 2 and then reparent it. Instead of test demo account 1, we will make it test demo account 2. Okay, and then click on save. So as soon as you do it, we'll just refresh this page and then see whether test demo account 2 is currently holding the right values. So if we scroll down, test demo account 2. So currently it is holding 3 now. We'll see whether the value populated properly. See, number of contacts is 3. Now let's go and check test demo account 1 is reflecting properly or not. So we'll go back there. Test demo account 1. Currently it is holding 1 here, but we'll see number of contacts. See, we got 1 here. Now we will take this one also. We'll reparent this contact 1 also to account 2. So we'll open this, edit. From contact 1, we just make it to demo account 2 and save. Now the contact size should be 0 here. So here it is 0, test demo account 1. The contact size is 0. If we go back to test account demo 2, it should be 4 totally. See here, now it got 4, but we'll see whether our field updating properly. See, here comes the next scenario. Account X is currently holding contact 1, which means the number of contacts will be 1 on account record, correct? Now let's say contact 3 has been deleted, which was associated with account X. However, after undeletion, it will get reassociated with account X now, and the number of contacts has to be incremented by 1 again. So which means now after it gets undeleted, account X will now have contact 1 and contact 3, and the number of contacts is 2. How you will achieve this? Okay, Cubai says that he will answer this. Whenever contacts get undeleted, we need to increment the value on account record 1 number of contacts field. Hence, we need to write our logic in contact record triggered flow on undelete operation. The answer is no, 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 no. It will not work because Salesforce do not have undelete operation on flows. There is no undelete event in flows yet. Possible in coming releases, of course. So events currently available in flows are before insert, after insert, before update, after update, and before delete. Undelete and after delete events are not yet available. There is very high chance that they will be onboarded very soon. So how to handle undelete operations if we want? The only one savior here is apex trigger. So if you want to do some kind of logics, once undeletion of a record happens, then we need to go ahead with apex triggers. Okay, here he comes again. How to find sum of amount value on account record for all its associated contacts. So rollup summary, so far we have done count of contacts, right? Now this is sum of a particular field here, amount value on contact. So to understand this scenario, we need to create a custom rollup summary field on account object, which is sum of amount. We also need to create another field on contact object, which is amount field. Now, whenever a contact is created, contact 1 is created here with amount value 100, we need to sum up that value and then display that in account record. Now let's say contact 2 is created with a different amount value, which is amount equal to 50. Now it has to sum up both contact 1 amount and contact 2 amount and then display it on account record, which is sum of amount equal to 150. So as in the previous scenario, we have number of contacts, which is 2. It will be doing its job. Now we need to write another logic or another flow to calculate the sum of amounts on child records. Okay. So the conclusion here is on every contact creation, we need to calculate the sum of amount values on all the child record, child contacts, and assign it to the sum of amount field on account record. So as we are doing this operation, whenever contact is getting inserted, we need to write our record trigger flow on contact object and after the insert event or operation. To do this logic, we'll come back to Salesforce again. So the thing is, we need to calculate the sum and then we need to put it on the account object or account record. So for that, we need to create a field on contact object, which will display the amount. And we also need to create an field on amount, something like this, which will be sum of amounts on accounts. So that should be a rollup summary field, which is a custom rollup summary field. So we'll create two fields first. So we'll go back to object. So this is a way to go to the object manager. One of the way, of course. Subject manager, and on account I'm creating custom rollup summary field. It's a custom field which should be calculating the total number of sum of amounts. So it should be a number field. Click on next. Sum of account amount on contacts, or we can make it as all contacts. And yeah, let it be. We really don't want to have decimal numbers, and click on next and next again and leave the default values and click on save. So now we have the field on account objects. Now let's go and create a field on contact object which should have amount field, amount value on it. So let's search for contact object and click on contact and create a new field here, new, and it should be a number field again. So scroll down, number field, next, amount. We can have a currency type also, but I just create it as number. And click on next and leave the default values. Click on next, and I want this to be there in all page layouts. So now we have a field on contact object which will have amount value, and we also have created a field on account object which should be calculated the total sum of all the amounts on the child records. Okay, now that we have created sum of amounts field on account, so let's go back to the account detail page. If we scroll down, we have sum of amount field value, so which should get populated with all the sum of amounts on which are there on all the contacts. Let me go back here, and then if we see, there should be a field here, amount field. Sometimes it will take little time to update the page layout. So sometimes you might need to log out and log in again to reflect the changes on the page layout. Okay, so now we have our fields, which is amount on contact field and sum of amount on all contacts field on account object. Now we are good to go for writing our logic. So to write the logic, it's really simple. We already have complete logic to find the number of contacts, right? So we just need to add two more steps to have this functionality. Let me show you how. It's really easy. So you can do the same logic for average to find the average. You can use very similar logic to find minimum and maximum also. So while inserting, whenever a contact is inserted, that sum has to be added up, correct? So we have our contact after insert. So on inserting, we'll see how to calculate the or how to add up the sum value on the account record. So in this flow, we are getting all the contacts related to that account, and then we are trying to get the size of it and then assigning it to the related account. In this flow, whenever a contact is inserted, we are trying to get all the contacts related to the same account. And then we are trying to find the size and assigning to a variable and finally updating the related account, right? Now, as we are having all the contacts which are related to the same account, we can loop through all these contacts and add up the sums. This is where we will be writing a for loop. So people who never worked on for loop, this is really easy. So click on plus and there should be a loop element. See, loop element. And you can say that loop through all contacts. And we need to mention the variable. So what is that variable? We got that get records thing, no? So that is the just record variable, which will be having all the contacts related to the same account. Okay. So it is looping through, and for each, if you want to do your logic, you can do this here for each of them, and it will loop like this until the last element. So let's say you have 3 contacts, it will loop thrice, and then it will go to the next step. If you don't write the logic, it will loop for 3 times. If you have 3 contacts, it will loop 3 times without running any logic, and then it will come out of it. Okay. So in this loop, we need to write a logic, or we need to do an assignment to update our sum. So let's create a sum value here, or like some variable here. So new resource variable total sum. Okay. And the data type should be number, of course, decimals should. And one more thing, give the default value as 0. This is really important because we need to initialize the value so that summing up of values will happen properly. So don't forget this value, default should be 0. And then click on done. So we have our variable, which is total sum. So total sum is initially 0. So whenever it loops for the first time, it should be total sum should be the first contact sum. And again it will loop, and in the second loop it will be total sum is equal to already existing sum plus the second contacts amount. And again for the third time it should be total sum is equal to total sum plus third contacts amount, right? So what we would do is we'll do that assignment. So it's basically an assignment. So click and then assign or like calculate, maybe assign amount value, contact amount value, or like each contact amount value to total sum. And then in here we need to mention our total sum is equal to total sum plus our contacts amount, whichever it's in the loop. So we need to give that sum. So for that we just need to write a formula. So new resource, it should be a formula. It's an easy formula. Calculate sum. Okay. So the sum would be again 0. It should be total sum, already existing sum, or like currently it would be 0. In the first loop it would be a sum value, and later it would be incremental, right? So total sum plus current record, so current item from the loop, so whichever it is looping now. So for the first contact, a current item will be having the first contact record. So current contact record dot amount. See, it will have the first contact amount. In the second loop it will be having the second contact amount, and third time it will be having third contact amount. Okay, and click on done. So we have our formula, which is like total sum is equal to total sum plus, for the first loop it will be contact 1 amount, and the second loop it would be total sum plus contact 2 amount, and if there are the third record, then it will be contact 3 amount plus total sum. Okay, and click on done. Do you think it is done? There is one more small assignment. So we have our total sum value calculated after the 3 times. Let's say first contact is having 100. So it will come down, total sum is equal to total sum plus 100. Total sum is already 0 now, so 0 plus 100 is equal to 100 now. So it will again loop. Let's say second contact sum is also 100. I mean total second contact amount is also 100. That will come down and total sum is equal to 100 plus 100. And again it will go to the third loop, so 200 plus 100 again. So it will be 300. So by the time it goes to the third one, it will be total sum is equal to 300 and it will come out of it. And then we are having the size value here. And anyhow, we are assigning the values here now. Number of contacts is equal to contact size. In the same way, we just need to mention sum of amount on contacts equal to total sum. See, so easy. We just added 2 steps and one small assignment in the already existing element. It's that easy. So we'll test this. Click on save as, and we can say that update account sum of amount field value whenever contact is inserted. Okay, so we have added 2 functionalities. Do like this. I mean, whenever a new functionality added, you can just update your description so that by opening this flow, you will understand what are the logics that are there inside before you reading out or like understanding the flow. Flow is really difficult to understand. Okay, and then click on activate. Okay, then we would test this one. So we'll test with the new record so that it is better to. We'll create a new account here. So click on new and then test demo account 3. And then we'll leave the values as is number of contacts and sum of accounts. So these values should be populated whenever contact is created. Okay, so we'll create a new contact. Contact P1, and then we need to provide the value in sum. Let's give it 100. So as we have done this, the number of contacts should be 1 now, and the sum should be 100. Okay, let's see. Click on save, and then click here. See the values, number of contact is 1 and sum of account on all contacts is 100. So let's try by creating one more contact. Click here, contact 2 or B2, and then give the value somewhere around maybe 200. So I'm clicking on save, so the total value should be already 100 in the first contact, and this is 200, which should be 300 in total. And the number of contacts should be 2 now. So we'll go back here. See, number of contacts is 2, sum of all contacts is 300. There is a scenario where the sum of amounts will not calculate properly when creating contacts. So whenever we are creating these 2 contacts, we have provided amount value, right? In this 100, in this contact, we have given 200. What if we don't provide any value in amount? So let me show that to you. So contact P3 and scroll down and don't give amount and then click on save. So first one is 100 and second one is 200, which is 300 plus. Here it is null, so it will take it as null. So 300 plus null will calculate it as null. So number plus null will calculate as null. And then after saving it, the sum on the account would reflect that null value here. So this is something which we need to address. So there are a couple of ways. You can go to contact object and directly go to the amount field, and you can give the default value. Where is the default value? Here. So you can give the default value as 0. However, if while creating the contact itself, the default value will be 0, and you can, if you manually take it out and then make it to null again, we'll face the same issue here. We can easily address this in flows itself. Let's go back to flows. In here, whenever we are calculating the sum, we need to do that change. So let's click on this calculate sum. So it's very small fix. Every time you are adding the total sum with the each contact's amount. So for every loop, each contact will be come here, and then it will have the amount value to the complete sum, right? So we need to write an if condition here saying that if that contact's amount is greater than 0, only then provide that value for calculating sum. Else provide that value as 0 to the sum. So already existing amount, existing sum, plus if it is greater than 0, it will calculate this value. If that value is not greater than 0, then it will send 0. So total sum plus 0. Let's say it's already 100 and the current contact is null. So 100 plus it will get 0. If it is having some value as another 100, so 100 plus 100. So that's how it works. So click on done and we'll save it. and then we'll see how it is working. Activate this. So we'll go back to the demo. Currently B1 is having some 100 and B2 is having some 200 and B3 is currently empty. Let me open it again. B3 is having amount value as empty. Okay, so let's create one more contact, which is contact 4, and we'll give some amount. Okay, so M4 contact B4, and we'll give some amount. Okay, maybe 500. Sorry, 500. 500, and I click on save. Now 500 plus 100 plus 200, which is 800 maybe. Yeah, you see 804 contacts. So let us add one more contact, but we'll not give amount now. Stir and contact B5, scroll down and don't give amount and click on save. And if we go to the details, it will be still 800. See, now it has calculated, or it has taken care of that empty amounts also. So while you are creating flows, be very careful about this, not null values. Okay, whenever you do any kind of calculations, this is really important. And this is how you will be updating sum on contacts creation. Now if we delete a contact, and then the sum has to be reduced with the amount of the contact record that got deleted, which means currently we have 2 contacts, right, and sum of the amount is 150. If we delete contact 2, as per the previous flow, the number of contacts will get 1. Now the sum of amount has to be reduced to 100. Why? Because the only contact will be contact 1 and the amount is 100. So the sum of the amount would be 100. Okay, we'll come back to our flows again. So whenever a contact is deleted, we need to update the sum, right? So we have before delete. So whenever you delete a contact, just before the delete, it will call this flow. So click on this before delete. So if you have after delete, use that. But by the time whenever you are seeing the video, if you have after delete operation, use that. But as at this point of time, we do not have after delete operation in flows, we are going ahead with this. Okay, it's the same logic. We are all having the contacts, the same flow, no? When we have written for number of contacts logic, it's the same flow. We are getting the contacts, we are getting the size, and then putting that in account record. So as we have the list, we'll write a for loop. It's pretty much similar to the previous step. So click on loop and then loop through all contacts, and then collection variable should be that get all contacts, and it should be first item to last item. We should be getting all the items. So click on done. Now it will be running for each loop. For every loop, for every contact, we need to calculate the sum again. So for that, we will be creating a variable like we have written in the after insert flow. So click on new resource and variable total sum. Again, the data type should be number, and give the decimal values to default value has to be 0. Don't forget this one. Default value must be 0. So click on done. And as we have this total sum or total contact sum, we need to write an assignment to calculate each contact amount and then put it into this total sum. Okay, click on plus. Scroll down and then assignment, and in here assign contact amount to total sum. Same step again. Okay, and the variable should be total sum equals, we need to write a formula, total sum plus existing contact. So existing contact amount. So click on this existing contact, in this current loop contact item. Okay, so click on new resource, formula, and then contact amount, and it should data type should be number, decimal give it as 0, it should be fine, and a formula should be total sum, which is scroll down, total sum plus, it's the same thing, so we need to get the current amount. Okay, so which is current loop, current contacts, amount value, which is scroll down, and amount value. However, we need to write a similar condition, if and greater than 0, we need to provide that value. Which value is it? This value. If it is not this, you need to provide 0. Okay, So now the thing is, we will be calculating sum of all the contact amounts. However, there is a catch here. Let me open Paint, I will show you. So let's say we have account 1 and we have contact 1, contact 2 and contact 3. Okay, contact 1 is having 100 value, contact 2 is having 200 value, and contact 3 is having 100 value, which is already there in the system. Okay, total value will be 400 now, correct? However, whenever you are deleting this contact, this flow will be called, and our flow will be calculating, looping through 3 records, correct? So if we go back to the flow, it will loop through first record, second record, and third record also. Even though third record is getting deleted, third record also will be calculated in that list. Why? Because it hasn't been deleted yet, because this is before event. Okay, as this is before delete event, that query will return all the 3 records and sum will calculate all the 3 sums. So in our case, we should not make our contact 3 amount should be calculated. So we'll write one more if condition there, and then we will stop calculating this particular particular amount in our calculation. So we'll go back to our flow. So here we are having if loop through a loop amount, the current contact amount is greater than 0, right? And we'll also write one more condition saying that if the current record ID is matching with the deleted record ID, before delete trigger record ID, then we should not be calculating it. So we need to get current loop item ID, which is like ID not equal to current record, whichever is getting recorded deleted. So this one ID. So this basically says whatever record that is calculating in here, whatever contact record that is coming into this loop should not match with the current deleted record, because we shouldn't be calculating the current deleted records amount. So if that current deleted record is not the record which is in the loop, only then it should calculate. However, we have one more condition that that amount should be greater than 0. So both the conditions should match, then it will calculate the sum properly. So you can have this kind of complex formulas, you can write it within the formula fields and then do it. You can also write, so I will click on done here. You can also write, I think I missed a brace there, but you can also write that if condition here itself, saying that if, you can write a decision box here, and then you can write if record ID not equal to current record ID not equal to current loop item ID. You can also write it here, but I just did it in the formula itself. But let me open this formula. Did I miss anything? If I think, yeah, we are good with the formula. So click on done, and we have our total sum value will be stored properly. We'll scroll down and then we will finally update that in our record. Okay, so scroll down, number of contacts is equal to this. It's the same thing, except that if extra if condition, everything is same. So what is that? Sum of all contacts equals to total sum. Done. And then click on save as, save and activate. So let's test this out. So we'll create a new account. Click on new, test demo account 4. Currently both the values are empty. Make sure that in page layout, or you can write validation rules to make them read only, not to make business users to change it. Okay, I'll click on new contact, C1 maybe, and then give amount value as 100. Click on save. We'll see whether the value is populating properly. 1 and 100. So we'll add one more contact, new Mr. Contact C2, and then we'll give 50 and then click on save. Now let's delete this contact too. Okay, if we delete this contact too, let's see if we go back there, the sum is 150, right? Let's delete this contact too and see whether that is getting properly impacted there. So delete this and go back to delete. See, the sum of amount is 100 again. So let me create again one more contact, Mr. Contact C3 maybe, and 500. So total should be 600 now, isn't it? Yeah. Now we'll go back and delete the C1 now. Yes. And delete. See, 600 minus 100, 500. So this is how deletion operation works. So only thing is I will just explain that formula again, people who did not understand it. So as you have seen, out of 3 contacts in the loop, it will get, see, by the time this is before delete. Remember, this is before delete. If this is an after delete event, you really don't need to write this extra condition, okay? But as this is before delete, whenever you're getting into this flow, this get all contacts related to the same account ID will return all the 3 contacts, even though this is in the before delete operation. Because as this is before delete, it isn't deleted yet. Just because it hasn't deleted yet, that query will return all 3 records. However, our calculation should include only the records which are not getting deleted. So that's the reason we need to avoid this in our calculations. To avoid this, anyhow record.id will be store this ID. And we also have the current loop item, right? Current loop item. As we are looping all the 3 records, we'll be having all the 3 contact IDs. So that loop contact ID, like it, whenever it is in the loop, that will be there in our loop ID, no? I mean that iteration ID. So that contact ID shouldn't match with the record ID. Record ID in the sense which is getting deleted. If it is not matching only, then calculate it. So in that way, it will only calculate this, and it will finally make the sum as 300. And that will be there in total sum, and that will be coming back to the last step. And in here, we are updating the total sum. I hope this is clear. So this is only one step which we have added. However, you can add that if condition here also, or you can calculate all the 3 values first itself, and then minus whatever it is there with the current record dot amount. So you can do it in multiple ways. I felt this is a lot easier and easy to understand as we are doing it in formula itself. Okay, push most of the things to the formulas so that your flow is really easy to understand. Okay, but you should be very much good at formulas. Try to be put more things into the formulas and practice it, because formulas are really helpful, not only in here, the actually formula fields that are there in the object data types. Okay, formulas, there are many requirements. I have closed it by just using formulas. We really don't need to go ahead with a lot of customization. I hope this scenario is clear. Let's move on. Now if we reparent contact 1 from account X to account Y, then the sum of amount should be reduced in account X and has to be incremented in account Y. So let's say currently account X is holding contact 1 and the amount is 100. Okay, now number of contacts will be 1 and sum of amount will be 100. If we reparent or take out this contact and reparent to account Y, then what should happen is here the number of contacts will be reduced as per the previous flow, and sum of amount has to be 0 here, and sum of amount and account Y has to be 100 here. For this, we need to come back to flows again. Now we need to select contact after update, which we have already done for number of contacts. So reparenting is nothing but changing the account ID on the contact, which is like update. So we have the previous scenario for whenever you reparent it, number of contacts has to be updated in the previous account and the current account, right? So that's the reason we have two lists. We have got all the contacts of both the accounts, the previous account and current account, and we have filtered by using the collection filter. So it is filter, we will be having previous account contacts, and this filter will be having current accounts contact, and we have got the sizes, and then finally assigned it to a list, and then finally we updated it. Correct. Now the thing is, we have two lists. One list is for previous account and one list is for current accounts contact, right? So we have the contacts list. We just need to loop through this contacts list of previous account, contact list of the current account, and then we need to do the same assignment as we have done it in the after insert and delete operations. So let me create two sum variables, two total sum variables, because there are two accounts that we need to update. Correct. So one account we should be updating this sum, and second account also we need to update this sum, previous account sum and current account sum. Okay, so to do that we need to create two sum variables. Variable total sum for total sum on previous account, and then give the data type as number, decimal to 0 or decimal to, it doesn't matter. Default value is must, don't forget the default value, and then click on done. We need to create another formula again, and variable and total sum on current account, and data type should be number and 0 and 0. Can click on done. Okay, now if you see, this is the list which is filter complete contact list to fetch previous account contacts. So this list, but after this particular filtering is done, we will be having the contact list of previous account in this particular filter. So we'll be writing a for loop here itself. Okay, so for loop, which is a loop here, loop through all contacts of previous account. Okay, and the collection variable should be, if we see the names, it is current contacts, and if you see this name, it will be see contacts from, if you see the hover tag there, contacts from filter complete contact list to fetch previous accounts contacts. So this particular list is having previous account contacts. So we have selected the collection variable here, and then click on done. So now we have the loop. We will be looping through the all contacts of the previous account, and then we will be calculating the sum of it. So click on this assignment, assign contacts amount to total sum. Okay, however we need to mention it as previous accounts contact. Okay, and then total sum, where is total sum on previous account equals, we need to create a formula. Okay, so click on new resource, formula should be on calculate sum for previous account contacts. Should be number, this one, so you can make it total or 0, something like that. So here we need to get the total sum variable first. Total sum is equal to total sum plus current variable contact, whichever it is in the current loop, is has to be calculated. So current item from the loop dot amount. Okay, so whichever is coming into the loop, whichever contact is coming into the loop, we just need to calculate the amount. However, like we have done in the previous step, we just need to check the null conditions here. So if it is greater than 0, only provide that value. If it doesn't, it is not having any value, then we need to give it as 0. If we give 0, then it will calculate the sum properly, else it will be calculating as null or 0 completely. So we need to give this condition. So total sum is equal to total sum plus current loop contacts amount. Okay, and then click on done, and then click on done. So we have our total sum calculated. However, we need to assign it. Okay, so where is the assignment? So previous contact assignment. So we have the previous account variable where we are assigning the contact size also to the number of contacts. So we also will give the sum here, previous, that is previous account record variable, sum of amounts of child contacts equals to total sum that we have calculated on previous account. And Ola, this is done for previous account. Now we need to do the same drill for current account. So this is the current account contact list. So like we have done it after the filtering of the previous account list, we are doing it after the current account list. So click here, plus scroll down and loop through current account contacts. Okay, and then we need to give the list. This is previous, this is, yeah, if you see the hover one, it's contacts from filter complete contact list to fetch current accounts contacts. So this is the size, and then this is the list. Click on done. So we are looping through the list. We need to do the assignment again. So click on plus assignment, assign current contacts sum to total sum. Okay, and then variable is total sum on current account equals to, we need to create a variable here again, like we have done it for calculate sum one. No? So formula field here, calculate current account contacts sum. Okay, and then should be number. Decimals we really don't need to worry. Formula should be total sum is equal to total sum plus current contact amount. Same thing. So total sum plus, but it should be on current account. That's the only difference. Plus current iteration of the previous or current account. So this is the current account. Dot amount. Same thing again, we need to put if condition here. So if it is greater than 0, give that value. If it is less than 0, this is how you will write an if condition. So if this is true, you need to pass this, else you need to pass 0. As simple as that. Total sum is equal to total sum plus current contact amount. We are only providing the current amount, only current contact amount if it is greater than 0. Simple. And click on done. So we have done with our assignment also. So if we scroll down, we need to assign it to our current account. Current account variable. So so here we are assigning account ID and then contact size also. No, here we will be assigning the sum also. This is it. Current account record variable dot sum of all accounts equals. We can just give the value of our total sum on current account. Okay. So I think this is clear, and click on done. Be very careful while assigning these values because any small change it is really difficult to debug. Okay, and click on done and click on save as and save and activate. So let's test this out. Okay, so we'll create new 2 accounts again and then we'll test this out. So click on test demo account A1. Okay, and then click on save. And we'll create 2 contacts. Contact D1 and we'll give amount as maybe 100 and then save. We'll create second contact D2 and then give 100 again and save. So we have 2 contacts, and if we go to the account A1, it should show 2 contacts and 200. So we'll create a similar account again. So click on this, another account, click on accounts, and then we will be creating test demo account A2. Okay, and then click on save. So we'll create 2 more contacts here, and we'll see how the reparenting works. Here we will be giving contact E1 and we'll provide 100 again and then save. We'll add 1 more contact E2, scroll down, 100 again and then save. So we have 2 contacts again in here, 2 contacts 200. Even in the first A1 also we have 2 contacts 200. Now what we would do is, now we'll have D2 contact which we will reparent from account A1 to account A2. Okay, now the contact size here should be 3 and the sum should be 300, and in the first account the size should be, number of contacts should be 1 and sum should be 100. Let's see whether it is working properly or not. So click edit and then reparent it with account 2, this one A2, test demo account A2, and then click on save. After we doing that change, we need to refresh this page, and we have 1 contact here, and then come here and you see number of contacts is 1 now and 100 here. Let's go back to A2. Currently it is 2 for 200. Just refresh this page. It should be 3 and 300 sum. 3 contacts are here, size is 3 and sum is 300. So what we will do is we'll take out that one also, the last one also. We'll take this one also and then edit and then reparent A2. So we are taking out all the 2 accounts from A1 to A2. Okay, and then click on save. And then we go back to A2 and then click on save. There should be 4 contacts and the size has to be 400. So we have 4 contacts and the size is 400. See, we'll go back to the account 1 and we'll see whether the value is properly reflected here. It should be 0 account, sum is 0 contacts, and sum should be also empty. See, 00. So this is how you can create custom rollup summaries by using flows. So whenever you ran out of rollup summary limit, and whenever you have lookup and then you still wanted to have rollup summary fields, then you can use this flow implementation. Quick points to remember. Standard rollup summary fields can be created on parent object which has master detail relationship with its child object. This cannot be done with lookup relationships. Now, the second point is count, sum, min, and max are the calculations that we can do on standard rollup summary fields. Average is not part of it. If we want to have the average, then we need to do the custom logic. Undeletion action is not available on flow yet, hence we need to go ahead with apex triggers for undeletion operations whenever it is required. If you want to do some kind of logics, then we need to go ahead with apex triggers for undelete events. And standard rollup summary limit is 25 for object. Let's say you have already used 25 rollup summary fields on an object for its child objects, and you can extend it for 40 by creating a Salesforce case request. If you want beyond that, again you need to come up with custom rollup summary fields like we have did in our previous scenarios. And that's the wrap up. If you have any questions, comment down below. Practice, 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 and bye.